Space Between is a game we developed for the Intel Perceptual Computing Challenge that uses a camera with gesture and voice recognition. It has 3 games which look at different ways of playing games using this technology. We wanted to see what the best ways of using this technology were in the context of games, and more importantly, how they can be used together to make a compelling, intuitive experience. In this video, we're going to show you what we developed and discuss some of the ways we use the camera's features. The first game, Defend the Reef, uses both hands to control shields which defend against invading jellyfish. This was the first game we developed and is the most simple of the 3. As you can see, at the top of the screen, the game displays graphics which represent actively tracked parts of the player. In all 3 of the games, instructions are displayed and then a prompt is given asking if the player is ready. This gives time for the player to raise both hands and make sure they're positioned correctly before the game begins. The player can continue by speaking "ready," at which point the game will progress and the wave will start. For this game in particular, it was fun to find a way to use the simple mechanic that took the player's hands off of the keyboard or controller and use them in an intuitive way in the game. The next game, Filterfish, pushes the technology further by integrating a hand gesture. We chose an open-close gesture because it was simple to develop and intuitive to use. For the game, we wanted to experiment with intuitive ways of using the gesture that were also compelling and fun to play. In this game, the player controls a school of fish that can be expanded and contracted based on the openness of the player's hand. The player must avoid incoming enemies that eat the fish. Expanding the school makes it move slower, but also take less damage. The player can also catch points by closing the school on them. This adds an incentive to take risks with the fish. In the final wave, a blowfish spawns babies that swim toward the player. The player can catch these babies and throw them back at the blowfish to defeat it. The last game, Raid the Reef, is a mixture of traditional user input, a keyboard, and the open-close gesture from the previous game. In this game, the player must defeat all enemies by shooting them with their shrimp character. The player can shoot by aiming with their hand's position and opening. Closing will stop shooting. This game was an experiment for us to see how we could mix traditional input devices with new gesture-controlled ones. We had a lot of fun developing Space Between and learned a lot about both designing and developing for new media technology and more specifically gesture and voice-controlled applications. We hope you enjoyed it and maybe even learned something you can use in your own applications. Thanks for watching.